Hi, welcome to my channel. Welcome to my podcast. Sorry that some of you who are listening to the podcast don't get to see some of the titles and things below. Sometimes I might make a mistake and I correct it in the title, but I really thank you all for tuning in and thank you for listening. There's very few people who really believe that the Lord is coming soon and much sooner than mainstream Christianity thinks. But I know that my Redeemer lives, and on the last day I shall rise again. And on the last day I may just rise up with him here. So I'm really excited. The times that we're in. If you follow my timelines, you kind of know what I'm thinking. I believe that the sign, the Revelation 12 sign that happened September 23rd in 2017 was the big sign. That was the great sign. And then I believe that the last 7 years started around the Feast of Sukkot in 2017, and it's all just happening differently than mainstream Christian thinks. And based on the original translations of Hebrew, we have come up with what we think may be happening, and of course we're not going to get it right either completely, but no man knows the day or hour. But can we know the year, and can we know the times, and why does God gives us these signs, like 3.5 years and 42 months and 1260 days? And so anyway, I encourage you to just listen to the whole end time series. And I personally feel that if the Lord doesn't come soon, I don't know if I'll make it, because I'm so worn out just in intercession, and the wickedness, will get greater, and the great divide between those who the Lord has covenanted with, the Lord who's set apart, who have their name of Jesus sealed in their foreheads, with the ones that will go into darkness, go with the son of perdition. Definitely the vision I had at the end of the universe in 2000, when I saw the scrolling of the end of the universe, and it definitely was the scrolling of the end of the universe where light separates from dark, and there was no way to keep it together anymore. So around the end of March, I think, I really got a strong word about the blotting out of the names. So the Lord has begun to blot out names. Like he has begun to, he knows who is not going to choose him. And of course, the false prophet is actively working, and the Antichrist is behind the scenes. And the abomination, set up the idols that are trying to be set up in our hearts. So there's so much to talk about. It's hard, so you really have to kind of follow my whole timeline to see where I'm at, to understand. And I encourage you to do so, because I believe that we are in the last 3.5 years now, and I believe that turned the corner, the Passover, the end of March, and then the real Passover, end of April. So significant events are happening. I really believe we're in those last 1260 days, and it's so not apparent. And I feel the Great Tribulation, one of the parts of the Great Tribulation, is something I didn't really know was going to happen. I thought about the Great Deception that'll happen then, but I didn't think about how hidden the Lord might be. So I do believe he has his sheep sealed, and he will get us safely home to him. But I have my storm painting behind me. It's a painting of a storm. Superstorm, and so we are in the stormy times. And so two things the Lord really wanted me to talk about today, and also I'll talk about a little more about the deception with the UFOs, but the Temple Mount and Jerusalem. So I believe that Revelation 11, that's where it talks about the measuring of the temple. 11:1, there was given me a reed like a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship wherein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall be tread underfoot 42 months, so 3.5 years. After that, the witnesses rise up for the same 1,260 days. So I believe we are in that 1,260 days. I believe that we have been measured. I believe the temple is Jesus. He said he's the temple, and if you destroy this temple in 3 days, I will rise it up. And I really don't believe there'll ever be another temple except for him. And I believe that those who worship him in spirit and truth, that we're in the Holy of Holies and that we're worshiping him. And I do believe that we've been measured. I believe that he's measured us. And I believe that that's been happening now, maybe ending over this 3.5 years that's been done. And now we're entered into the last 3.5 years. So it's very deceptive and very hidden. And I've been talking about these witnesses. So then the witnesses rise up after the temple has been measured, the temple, the inner court. And then without, Jerusalem is being tread down by underfoot by the Gentiles. And then the two witnesses, and I will give my power to the two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days. So I believe that the witnesses are already here. I believe we just can't see them yet. I believe they're witnessing. I believe they already started their witness. And I felt today that the Lord wanted me to declare it. He wanted me to declare it to you that these witnesses are here, and we will see the witnesses. I believe we're in the 1,260-day period. I believe also that the trampling of the outer court in the holy city has already happened and has already started. So I believe that started. So I believe that this trampling of the outer court started around April 23rd, 2021. When the unrest started in Jerusalem with the stones being thrown, and then there was the trampling of the Orthodox Jews, which were the Kabbalah believing Jews. So the Kabbalah is not of the Lord. It is a variation that is very deceptive. That came about in the 2nd century, and also from a lot of pagan ideals that came out of the Jews when they wandered in their diaspora. So the Kabbalah is really evil, and it really is witchcraft, and so people get really deceived. So that whole trampling of those Jews, those were Kabbalah-believing Jews, and I believe the Lord is done with deception, and he's coming back to take his earth. So he is the good shepherd, and he is coming back to take his earth. So I think we're going to see more and more things where the Lord he's done with that deception. He's now coming to make it known that that's not true, and getting his sheep. He's coming to take back his earth, take it back from the false shepherds, and be the good shepherd and shepherdess and take back this earth. And so I'm so excited that he's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And I don't know about you, but I'm so stressed out, and I tend to go to all my vices when I'm stressed out. And sometimes I just want to get in bed and put the covers over me. I have a saying, when the tough gets tough, when the going gets tough, the tough go to bed. So anyway, and I'm a single mom, and I work, I'm still working. Thank the Lord, I've been able to work remotely, so I can stay home. But anyway, we were looking for this, this start of the 1,260 days, and I believe that it started, and now we're seeing the disrest in Jerusalem and in Israel, and I don't think it's going to stop. So the other word I got today was to declare that the 42 months have started, and to be paying attention. And you can pray about all this. You can look it up. This is just what I believe. This is what I believe I need to share with people. Today also, I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to hit the U.S. This civil unrest and this conflict between the Arab and Jew is going to hit the U.S. So it already has. There's been conflicts in New York City today, and they are conflicts in London. So this could really escalate. Now, the good thing about this is that the Israelis, so they were lining up, they were beginning to join with the United Arab Emirates and with the Pope in this fraternity, the human fraternity of brotherhood. So this, I believe, and also there was a coalition being formed. Now you can do the research, because I'm not that amazing at all this research. I just, have a team of people and we try to research. But so there was a coalition being formed in Israel around the end of April that would unite the Ram Party, which is the Arab Party, the Liberal Party of Israel, and then the moderate conservatives. So they were trying to form a government. And Netanyahu got reelected, but he's been unable to form his coalition. But the Lord, I believe Yahweh did not want this coalition formed. I don't believe the Lord wants Israel to be in that, especially lead the way into the beast system, which was kind of what they were doing by 19 with the false prophet. And the UAE. And so the mark is here. I've been talking about the green passport in Israel that you have to use now if you're going to travel or buy things in retail and restaurants and things like that. And the astounding thing is, it is literally called the mark in Hebrew. It is called the mark. And it's the same word in Hebrew as used in Revelation, where the Lord talks about the mark. So this mark, disguised as these passports, is being replicated in other countries. It's going fast. It's also already started in New York City. And already the Biden administration is talking about implementing these passports, the mark, for travel, international travel in the U.S. So we don't know. So anyway, this coalition was being formed, and I believe the Lord did not want that. So he has allowed this conflict. He has come to bring not peace, but a sword, to get Israel away from the Arab nations and away from that coalition. So I don't believe that coalition is going to be able to form, which would allow the beast system really to take over Israel. So I hope that kind of makes some sense. But when I was thinking of that, I thought, something's going to happen in the U.S. too, because all my prophetic words about the U.S. is that the beast system, cannot have the U.S. You can't have the whole U.S. You can't control our government. You can't control the U.S. There's too many believers, and there's too many prophetic words about the founding of this country. So that leads me to this little glib that came up about Biden, because I had a word, about him that when he got into the presidency, and you on the podcast didn't hear this word because I did it silently. But it was that there would be so many calamities that would come against this administration that they would literally be reeling. And we're starting to see those calamities. And this little title today said, Biden under siege, White House staggers by multiple crises from gas shortage to overseas conflict and migrant surge. So I believe this is just the beginning of these waves of trouble that will be hitting this administration. the Lord is going to have his way with America, and I believe he did put Biden in office for his reasons. I have some kind of information on that I don't feel I want to share online, since it goes on YouTube and things like that. But the Lord, let me just say, he had a purpose that he had to take Trump out for this period of time, and the Lord put who he put in office so that he can judge correctly, because he needs to he needs to divide our country and judge it accordingly to protect the remnant. And the Lord is concerned about the remnant and concerned about the believers and the nation, the true nation that was founded on the Lord. He's not so concerned about our current system of government as he is concerned about the remnant. So in saying that the Lord couldn't allow Trump to take office at that time is not saying that he will not be used of the Lord for the remnant and possibly the underground church, and I don't know what else. I mean, if God has a surprise, he may have a surprise. I don't really know, but it's not that the Lord wasn't with him. It's just that some of the choices that were being made, he couldn't lead the country at this time, and some of the judgments that the Lord wanted to do, he couldn't allow Trump to take those judgments. So he allowed like the beast system basically to get in office so they could have those judgments. That's why these calamities and things need to happen now at this time on this administration. So I don't understand all that, but it was the dividing of the Lord, he sets up kings and puts them down. So he set up the Biden administration for his purposes for this time. And it wasn't to bless the country, but to prophetically judge the beast system. So hopefully the remnant will be safe in America. So we'll see. But those calamities and things, I think that's part of that. So I think it's going to escalate. I think that it's necessary. This could be the beginning of World War III. The mainstream Christians are still looking for, the start of the 7-year period and the Antichrist that makes the peace deal. We, again, believe we're already now into that last 3.5 years. So if you want to follow along and want to believe that, I prophesy in part and know in part, but the times of the Lord are so, he has his time and he delivers that to babes. I mean, it's just never going to be mainstream. So my nephew, who does the research and wrote his book called Calculating the Last 7, and you can look up the website, www.calculatingthelast7.com. He felt that the Lord said to him he would reveal his end-time prophecies to him if he did not have a preconceived idea about how those were going to be. And since he really didn't grow up in the church and he spends all his time researching Hebrew and ancient Hebrew, he was able to understand some of the subtle ways the Lord has been fulfilling the prophecies. If any of you have watched my video or listening to the podcast, the trampling of the temple, the 2,300 evenings and mornings, have they already begun? If you understand and see how subtle that was, how subtle that prophecy was fulfilled when they trampled the Temple Mount, the remains of the Solomon Temple, on by WAQF, WAQF, in 2018. We believe that was the fulfilling of that prophecy. And you can see how different that is than the mainstream Christian prophecy where this Antichrist with his armies is literally trampling the temple, the third temple. So part of the subtlety, so this is what's been so on my heart and really hard to think about, and is the Lord, so the great deception is that it's just not going to be obvious. It's just not going to be obvious, and it's going to continue that way, I think. He wants people's hearts. He wants your heart. He doesn't want to scare people into the kingdom of the Lord. He doesn't want people going, oh my God, this is really it. I better repent. Like that's his last wish, I believe. I believe he wants our hearts now. He wants us to be paying attention and listening and watching. Like when he told me the two horns had joined for the false prophet, I just was listening, and then we were like, oh my gosh, the Pope and the Grand Imam of UAE have now joined and formed the Human Fraternity of Brotherhood. So anyway, I think in terms of the subtlety that he's been fulfilling these prophecies, it could be still that way. That's why I'm saying the witnesses could already be here. We just haven't seen them yet. I'm saying that this 42 months have started just by some stones being thrown and now rockets and fire in Jerusalem. And in the Israeli 365, I thought this was a good article from a rabbi. So he says this is the signs of the Lord coming, Mashiach. They're waiting for their Messiah, their first Messiah. But that this is a symbol of that when I'm looking for the article, sorry. When the flames are at the temple in Jerusalem, at the Temple Mount. So I thought that was interesting. And so I've been talking about deception. So the deception is going to be greater, but the Lord is going to be moving. And I was not happy that things are going mayhem in Israel, but if it's the Lord dividing the people so that Israel can stay separate from the Antichrist, then yay, so that we have to be really letting the Lord do what he needs to do and really be counting on him, because that means then, because I was like, oh my gosh, is Israel just going to join with the false prophet and there's no hope? But see, now there's hope that they will not join with the false prophet. I've been talking about this deception with the enemy using UFOs and aliens to get us off the track and maybe thinking that we're having to fight these aliens. The Pentagon in the U.S. is set to release a major report on June 1st about UFOs. So they are set to release some of their private information, I guess. This is from an article called The Coming Deception, Part 1, The Lucifer Device. So LUCIFER, device, stands for Large Binocular Telescope, Near-Infrared Utility with Camera and Integral Field Unit for Extragalactic Research. So this is to be used at the Vatican Observatory. No, it's right next to the Vatican Observatory in Tucson. And the Vatican, so they are going to put out, so the Pope Society of Catholic Scientists They have conferences, and so their conference this year is going to be in Washington, D.C., and that's going to be June 4th through 6th. So June 4th through 6th is the Vatican scientists, and their topic is ET, AI, and minds beyond humans. So how does that line up with, Christian beliefs? Well, I've seen demons and angels since I was a kid, and I believe that ghosts and aliens are demons that are manifesting in those ways. So this is going to be a new level of that deception, just as I was talking about in my last video about UFOs. So we don't know how that's really going to manifest, but pay attention to that. You can look it up. I'll put a link. Our stuff is about the blood. So we've been talking about the attack on the blood with this. I had that dream about the sickle blood cells. So the more research they're doing on coronavirus, COVID, it really attacks the blood. So they really think that it attacks the respiratory system, but the more research they're doing is about it attacking the blood. So that really lines up with my prophetic words about the plagues that touch the blood, and Sahud's words of prophecy about that. Also, the coronavirus vaccine. So I guess 3,000 people have died of it in the U.S., but it also deals with the blood. So they often die of blood clots and that kind of thing. So keep your eye on that. I've decided I will not get vaccinated, and I will not have my child vaccinated. And do I believe you're going to go to hell if you get vaccinated? No, I really don't. But could it really mess up your body? Possibly. And like I said before, I'm staying out of that membrane system. I want to stay out of that membrane system. So persecution of the Jews have started. So, again, I've been saying for a month or so, a couple months, Jews should hide. They really should hide. Jews in the U.S., you should hide or have your plan for hiding to avoid this persecution. So let's see what else I want to talk about. There was a big conference that happened that the Pope led recently, and that was, you can find that on the let's see, Vatican Conference 2021.org. Vatican Conference 2021.org. Dr. Fauci was there, Chelsea Clinton, the Pope. A lot of big name speakers were there. It was all about science and globalism and all of that stuff. So, it's something that you could look up and research. I can't stand to see faces anymore. It's just so hard. People who are not of the Lord, like, I almost want to hide my face from them. It seems weird, but it's like they look so angry, and so the hatred and wickedness that I think is going to increase against the believers and the Jews. I think that's something to keep watching. I really feel like the people I love, like I follow certain conservative people and things, and I just love them. I love their heart. I wish they knew how late the hour was so that I could, tell them, like, you're fighting the whole beast system. It's really the system that's going to, take over, or not take over, but infiltrate to a way where it's almost impossible to get out of. So the more you stay out of the world, the better. I wish I could do more videos, but I'm so worn out. I guess spiritually, physically, just I've been, talking about the end times now since, really on it in 2017. And it's just so much, it's just so much. It's like So for me, I really just stay really, as close to the Lord as I can. I believe that even in the times of great tribulation, there is his rest. His rest, like today I was thinking of that song, like I can't breathe unless you're resting here with me. Um, so I believe to get us through these times, the more you seek his face and the more that we could just let the Lord help us to rest and help us to be at the banquet table in the presence of our enemies. I know that, I'm not a pre-tribulation rapture person, but I've talked about rapture. We could be raptured right where we are. There could be hidden places and stuff like that. So keep your mind on him, I guess, is the main thing. He's the same. He's the same today and forever and yesterday. So that's helping me just thinking of him like that, thinking of his heart, his character, um, as he is actively, destroying his earth, and he's actively destroying wicked people, and he's actively dividing the light from the dark. Just stay in his light. You stay with him. Don't panic. Calm down, like Paul Bagley says, and have a cup of coffee. I feel encouraged, I guess, if things start looking a little more like the end times, so more people will pay attention and get saved. So I'm encouraged that the mainstream Christians at least think that we might be on the brink of the last seven. But they have no idea that we could literally be in that last 3.5 years. And maybe that's a good thing, because it's like you'll wake up and go, oh my God, it's over. I don't know why I know. Like, it's hard to know. And like I said, I don't know everything. I don't know for sure. But the signs are all there. Like, it just that timing of calculating the last seven, when he calculated from that temple, rebuilding of the temple, and Daniel's 70th week. It's so profound, and it just seems like things are just lining up over and over and over. So anyway, I can't wait to see what the two witnesses look like. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and be encouraged that the Lord does all these things for his purposes, and his purpose and will is that everyone who calls on his name can come to him. So I just pray, no matter how he shakes it up, continue to draw people to him and to his heart. So God bless you, and I hope I'll post something again soon. Whatever the Lord gives me, I really want to share it with you guys. And God bless you. Keep the faith and stay in him, in the rest. Stay in the resting place with the Lord. All right, thanks for tuning in.
The temple of my Messiah, the New Jerusalem.